Steve has been with TRP for more than 6 years. In fact, he is not the founding father, but he started 2 months after the group started. So he has been with the group for a long time. Steve Sabo does the insurance, which you heard about in his intro. But I want to turn it over to you, Steve, so you can tell us all about what you do.
Great. Thanks. I have 10 minutes. I'll share with you a little bit about life insurance. About 4 years ago, I had a client who I'd known forever get into a new business up in Alaska. And then I said, hey, Scott, you're way underinsured on your personal life insurance and on your company life insurance. Now that you're going to be spending time in Alaska, especially in a gold business, I think you should up it. You know, we needed several $1 million more. And he said, yeah, we could apply for it. And I said, all right, you got your checkbook. You got to write some checks here. He goes, oh, no. Steve, you know me long enough. I don't write checks for insurance. And I said, well, this one's different just because of the situation you're in. I'm not going to submit this stuff unless you give me a binding check. So as long as the insurance company has a check from you, it could just be a month, whatever we're submitting, like $1 million here and $1 million there, it's in force until they give you your money back or approve you, decline you, however they want to work. So he gets his manager in there. The manager says, I don't know, I'll talk to the CFO. Gets the CFO in there. The CFO says, I don't like it. And I said, well, that's the only way I'll submit. So he writes the checks, and I do the business. And then Scott takes his exam, and now we're approaching 4th of July, and I get this phone call when I'm in Hilton Head that Scott was paddleboarding down in Glenwood Canyon. This was some years ago. Before paddleboarding on whitewater was very popular. So he wasn't tethered to the back, he was tethered to his ankle like he would surfing or windsurfing. And so he drowned, he got waterboarded. He hit some rapids, went down, and he couldn't get the board, he died. So I get this word, and it becomes panic, but I realize they're holding his money, so at least his family and his business are probably going to be just fine. So anyways, there's this nonprofit called Life Happens. I submitted a story to them at somebody's request about a year later, and they thought it was a really good story about how life insurance helps families and companies. And so then they sent a production crew out with me and the client's partner, going to the ranch, the business, all that stuff. And it's really funny because the day before this big shoot was going on, I got braces. And it's like I'm out of work, and it's very awkward, but I think that's what we're going to see here. And then they brought me to this NAFA, National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, to tell, I have like a 4-minute story about that situation, that case. There are 2,000 people in the audience, and my punchline was, don't do COD business, take checks for all your work. And that's the reason this family is okay now.
My husband Scott liked to dream big.
He loved to golf, he loved to fish, he loved to windsurf. Anything that was outside, he was doing it.
The biggest attraction for me to Scott was that he was very adventurous, and if he had a dream, he followed it till he made it come true. He worked hard to build a successful business.
R&H was founded on radiant heating. 20 years ago, I bought into my brother's company. He had about 4 employees. We just grown from there to 60, 70 people.
Throughout the years, Scott's business increased to the point where life insurance needed to go up with it.
We worked with Steve for our life insurance, our health insurance, and our buy-sell agreement.
The buy-sell agreement allowed Scott and David to own the company outright in the event of a death or a disability.
So if one of us deceased, we would have control of the company and wouldn't have to sell it or lose it.
So Scott purchased more life insurance as the business grew and as the family grew.
We got married in Boulder, and we had 2 girls, We chose to move up to Eagle, Colorado and live on a ranch. It was our dream to raise our children in the country, and as busy as Scott's life was, he always found a spot for his kids.
On July 4th, Scott decided to paddleboard on a river to get to the picnic to meet his family and friends. The rudder of the paddleboard caught between two rocks, propelled him into the white water, and he was tethered and then drowned.
He would have been 52, just starting to live his life.
The worst nightmare of my life happened at that point.
It took 2 weeks for Kathy to be ready for me to come by and discuss what this looks like financially.
I found out from Steve that not only did he increase his life insurance for us personally, but he had increased it for the sale of the business to his brother David.
The buy-sell insurance allowed me to buy all of Kathy's Scott shares, so now I am sole owner. So the company has no debt because we did have the insurance.
My daughters and I have to make a new life for ourselves without Scott, but he could be a part of us because we were able to stay here on this ranch. It's just a representation of who he was and how hard he worked and his dreams.
The story of that is his wife didn't even know he had all of this life insurance. It was about $5 million. And so what happened was the partner got the death benefit, and it was in writing with a buy-sell agreement that the money goes to the spouse, and it was also in writing in the buy-sell agreement that she was required to relinquish all shares. So he ended up getting about, $9 million company for 5, 6. She was happy as heck. She got to keep the ranch, got to keep rentals, 2 airplanes, all this stuff. She thought she was like swimming in creditors and collections and weird stuff. And so anyways, that's how life insurance can save lifestyles and businesses. And all those 70 employees never missed a beat. And so that's what I do is life insurance. That's a business angle on this one, but it also brings in the family angle. She still owns the ranch up in Eagle. She made a lot of money selling other things and the business, and she's, just kind of living a good life. So any questions about how life insurance works, like honey?
So I'm a young individual, millennial type, and I have a 13-year-old car and a young business and no other assets. When should I be concerned about life insurance?
Whenever you love somebody or something.
Okay.
I mean, if you say to yourself, like my partner, maybe your partner, because you've got a partner, and if you think about losing that partner, what have you lost?
Yeah.
Have you lost the sales
I was
agent?
my bookkeeper.
Yeah, you've lost your detail person.
You need to hire me then. Sorry.
So sometimes that's a life insurance need, because I say, if I lose my partner, I lose my detail person. That's worth $100,000 or 100, whatever the number is, to replace that person. Upon a death, you get the money, and then be able, that's just called key man. I'm insuring a key person in my life, and a business relationship.
Right. Cool.
Short of that, it can just be part of a bigger financial plan with families.
Yeah.
Who's your orthodontist? No, I'm kidding. So my wife and I, we have term insurance. We're 20-year,
Yes,
10 years into it.
yes.
When's the time to start looking at extending it? We don't want to double up.
Soon. The reason being is that the actuarial tables have changed in just the past few years, where we are now living longer, and so the insurance companies are building that into their calculations for premiums. Every year you get older, that's the biggest increase in premium, if you decide now that term is still the way you want to go, by the way, term insurance is like renting, you know, it's like an auto payment. You have the insurance as long as you pay a premium. When you stop, it goes away. So that's like renting insurance. You could say, you know what, instead of knowing I have 10 years left, maybe we'll re-up with a 20 or a 30-year level term. And then you could see the value of that if you think you would want to keep renting
So you'd
insurance.
stop one. One would stop, you
Correct.
couldn't continue.
Once the new one starts, you could just get rid of the old one. But there is a dollar attached to that decision.
Right.
So you'd have to just look at the numbers and see if they work for you. And if you have a longer term need, then we get permanent insurance that might contain some term, but some permanent that can never go away. Michelle?
Just a testimonial, actually, I am growing my business and I figured something logical to do would be purchase life insurance before I turn 30 this year. And so Steve helped me with, I was just like, I don't know what to decide, like, can you just help me make a decision? What's my policy? I have a whole, I think.
You have a permanent whole
I
life
have a whole
policy.
life policy, and it's not that expensive, and I mean, yeah, my sister's my beneficiary, I don't have kids or anything, but, I mean, you might as well, like.
Yeah, I bought my first when I was around 30, now I'm 60 plus, and it's like those have been paid off for 18 years.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way permanent insurance works. It's like having a mortgage. 16 to 20 years in, you can stop paying premiums. It's always there forever and ever, and you'll never regret that. Yeah, Gordon?
You talked about early on in your presentation about going to Scott and saying, listen, you're way under covered. What do you use as that kind of determining factor? When I got my life insurance, I just pulled a number out of the air
Right.
and said, this is what I want. But I've never had anybody talk to me about what I need.
Well, I knew what their business was worth, you know, and that's how we had established the original couple million on each of these partners. But then, after watching that show, Bering Sea Gold, they decided to go big into the Bering Sea, the largest barge in the ocean up there, going after the gold in a big way. And I knew that one way or the other, they were either going to hit or going to miss, but he was at a lot of risk just being up in Alaska a lot. Sure. Yeah.
So what do you use to determine that number? Or do you just, is it,
Well,
I mean, wait.
I knew that they were in for over $1 million up in Alaska.
Gotcha.
And then they were going to go big, so I was like, you need a couple million at least. Right?
Otherwise, it's basically just blowing over out in the air. Or you have to have a pretty good idea of what your net worth is.
Steve knows how much a company is worth, and you know, everybody always talks to their CFO or their comptroller or somebody, say, what are we worth? And, yeah, other than that, just pull a number out of there. You're worth $250,000 right now.
That's what I
If
said.
you were to die.
Cool.
Our family we're involved in rock climbing and things like that, and so my husband's like, I am not doing life insurance, it'll cost me an arm and a leg.
Not necessarily. Full disclosure with giving an explanation in writing, like how do you climb, how often, who do you climb with, what kind of training do you have, how long have you done it, how many climbs have you taken without killing yourself? Then these underwriters in New York or Des Moines, they get another deal. No,
So it can be affordable even if you're in extreme sport.
like this guy was a pilot, but he was less expensive than somebody who's not a pilot. Well, because he was in good health, but he had a lot of hours on his airplane, so there's no penalty on that.
So we should get all of our extreme sports experience over when we're young, and then
Yes.
like have more of that, and then when we're older, life insurance will be cheaper.
If you're still around.
If you're still
It actually,
It usually works like that, except in Robbie's case.
Because I'm old.
It actually seems like it'd be more dangerous for somebody to go rock climbing once
That's
than over
right.
like 20, 30 years or
Yeah.
whatever. it is.
That's exactly right. So if we show history and.
Which is why I don't rock climb.
Dan, you won't come see my tower garden, but I'll take your rock climb.
I will climb your tower
Any last questions? The thing I heard though is, and I'm gonna say something about Steve, because Steve and I have worked together, is you say, when is it affordable? Well, when a catastrophe happens, and you lose somebody, then you look back saying, when was it affordable? Because now I have nothing. I've lost half the income, or whatever, it could be more than that. So, yeah.
Nice.
But thank you, Steve.
Thank you.